California. 69, I went out there, and I came back for a visit in 71, and Danny was playing with Max Baker in a band. And I went out to see him, you know. And it was a good band, but I was particularly impressed by Max. And we went back, well, I mean, you were my brother, of course I was impressed by you. That's why I went.
Thank you.
But we came back to my mom's and sat around in the basement singing. And that, for me, Max is a great guitar player, but the way the three voices blended just blew me away. And so I got Mike Gordon on drums and Gary Bourgeois on bass, because I had worked with them before. And the five of us drove to California.
We didn't even have the name when we left town. We didn't know what we were going to be called.
Each time we'd stop, everybody'd say, oh, I thought of this name. And Max and I were together at one point, and actually it was Max that came up. He said, he was talking about Mom, and he said, how about Mother's Pride? And I said, oh, that's cool. And I said, why don't we, kind of funk it up a little bit, man, call it Mama's Pride. It's got a little more edge to it, and he said, all right. And I remember when we stopped, everybody had their list. I said, well, me and Max got one, I said Mama's Pride, and everybody just looked at us and looked at the list and went, that's it, we're Mama's Pride. Because in those days, minimum you worked at a club was 3 weeks. You worked 6 nights a week. You worked 4 to 5 sets a night, and on weekends sometimes they'd have these after-hour things where they just served coffee, So sometimes on a weekend you'd have to do 7 sets. So we did that for 2 years out there. So by the time we got back to St. Louis, we were so tight, everybody thought we were a brand new band, and they're like, oh my God, these guys are good, Well, we've been playing together for 2 years every night.
Call you a cab, and I help you pack your bag. Anything to get you out that door. Although I don't regret it, I'm glad that you said it. I don't want you both to know.
We had no idea who Ahmet Ertegun was. We were clueless.
We were in Augusta, Georgia, playing a place called the Whipping Post.
He had sent down Jerry Greenberg and Anita Wexler, Jerry Wexler's daughter, and they called him and they said, we think you need to come down and hear these guys. I never could get the guy's name straight. I kept calling him Abdul. But he was very cool about it. He told me one night, he goes, that's all right, kid. Otis Redding used to call me Omelet, so you're in good company. And Ahmet Ertegun is standing in front of the stage, an empty dance floor. He's standing in front of the stage, snapping his fingers, going, go, cats, go, go. And so we're thinking, who is this crazy old man? Is he really somebody important? And what was really cool, he says, I'll sign you on the spot. And we said, no, we don't want to do that. Once again, our manager was freaking out. You don't tell Ahmet Ertegun no. It's like, we said, we want you to come to St. Louis. We're playing Muddy Waters. And we'd like you to come to St. Louis and sign us in our hometown.
Because even then, our fans were really important to us, and we thought that'd be cool.
And he thought it was really cool.
Yes, he did. Alan, our manager, like he said, is almost having a heart attack. And Alan goes, I ain't been to St. Louis in a while. That's a good idea, So he did.
Yeah, he came. We signed in the beer garden of Muddy Waters that night.
It's a chance for a lifetime.
Shelley Grafman, he was the man, and he had a real loyalty to local Midwestern, you had to be good. It wasn't like he just went to a bar and, some jive-ass group, he'd throw him on the air. He had to really like the band. But if he did, and you were from the area, you just got airplay to death, and we did. He played that first album constantly.
What year was it?
75.
We sold 30,000 copies of the first record in St. Louis.
1975, we sold more records than any band in the world in St. Louis.
And a lot of it was due to his...
Oh, you better believe
If he'd have been ahead of our marketing department throughout the United States, it could have been a much different story. Like when we did the second album, we had an acetate, came back from LA, flew into town, and drove out to KSHE. I think Teddy Habik was on the air. We went in and said, look what we've got. It's in, and it was only good for like 6 plays, but we were like, brand new acetate of the second album. Ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, for the next hour or 45 minutes or whatever it was, we're going to be playing the new Mama's Pride album that's not going to be released for another 2 months.
It takes a lot at my age, with all we've been through that we've just talked about. I don't get too turned on by too many things, because this completely blew my doors off and took me. I was not any expectation of that at all. I mean, I immediately called him. I said, "Do what now?" We were very honored too, because there's a lot of great groups that came out of St. Louis, and for us to be the first one inducted, I mean, to say we were touched is an understatement.
After this many years, you tend to get a little cynical, and I'm thinking, because I couldn't wait to tell everybody. I mean, it was like, and I'm thinking, man, I hope some of the more cynical guys don't get cynical, because I am not in the mood for cynical. I mean, I was really choked up. Still am. And everybody felt the exact same way.